What is happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So what a hard fought victory. At one point I was actually thinking this was going to be a 0-0 draw with Watford. So obviously bad blood has developed over the years against Watford, and this is mainly due to the comments that were made by Troy Deeney last season after our defeat at Vicarage Road against Watford. But this season, we've started off well. They've come back to the Emirates and we've obviously beat them 2-0 today. And what a fantastic victory. We have shown some maturity, really, or some significant changes from last season under Arsene Wenger. Basically, last season, we would have capitulated within this game. We would have definitely lost this game. Watford, kudos to them. They were definitely playing some good football. But we've managed to see the game out, and it was a fantastic victory as mentioned. So let's just talk about the starting lineup. Of course, we ended up picking up an injury to Petr Cech, but Petr Cech started in goal. He was obviously replaced by Bernd Leno later on, well, pretty much just at the half-time point. Hector Bellerin was starting at right back. Mustafi was in the middle of the defence with Rob Holding. Nacho Monreal was at left back. Xhaka and Torreira were the pivot in midfield. We had Ozil, Ramsey. We also had Aubameyang, and Lacazette was the lone striker up top. So as mentioned, a very hard fought victory. So Lacazette really, I've made a few notes. So the first point that I did make was in relation to the stats. Lacazette basically has got 6 goals in 7 Premier League games for Arsenal's Premier League starts, that is. We could obviously, we have made it 7 wins in a row in our competitions. Fantastic little run that we're currently on at the moment. I've mentioned in my preview, can we get it up to 10 wins? Hopefully we can certainly get that to 10 wins and get into Christmas, or to the Christmas period, in very good health. That's what I'll certainly be looking forward to. Socrates wasn't definitely ready for the game, even though we didn't concede a goal, which was a fantastic result. Rob Holding was a fantastic replacement for him. We look, as I said at the start of the video, we look like we have certainly improved defensively this season. We look more comfortable in dealing with crosses. A little bit more work needs to be done here and there, but we definitely look like we've definitely improved in defence this season. We looked very dangerous on the counter-attack throughout the whole game. We were catching Watford on a counter-attack. Of course, they were pressing us pretty much as we were pressing them, but we were catching them on the counter, and we were fantastic on the counter. All the players were breaking very quickly, and I was quite impressed with that. We were relying heavily on our fullbacks, and that's one note that I did make during the game. Excuse me. The fullbacks were getting quite a lot of action in terms of the ball. Some of the crossing was a bit off, some of it was a bit on, but particularly Hector Bellerin was getting a few good crosses here and there. So it was a mixture, really, but we'll talk about the individual players shortly. We got sloppy in possession within the last 10 minutes or so. Of course, we ended up winning the game in that time of the game, but we were getting a little bit sloppy before we got our goals in possession, but we managed to catch Watford off guard and we got our goals. So let's talk about the individual players. As mentioned, Petr Cech was in goal. In the first 2 minutes, he made a couple of decisive saves, and this was early on in the first half. He made a couple of good saves, or good touches, if you like, which could, in some occasions, would have led to a goal. As mentioned as well, he was then replaced by Bernd Leno, and Leno had made a great save soon after the second half from a deep free kick, which was Watford's free kick. He made a fantastic save around the corner, and I was quite impressed with what I saw from him. Lerner made another good save from Gray when he came out and actually just smothered the ball, but overall I was impressed with what he was doing. He seemed as if he was sort of trying too hard, or trying to impress too much the home crowd, but it didn't suffer any significant embarrassments, really. It ended up paying off for us. But overall, I was really impressed with his performance. We don't know what the situation is currently at the moment in regards to Petr Cech. We will certainly have to wait for the news to come out. But as soon as he kicked that goal kick, you could see him waving to the bench to say, right, I need to come off. I've picked up a terrible hamstring injury. And before you know it, he was trotting off the pitch. Bellerin, playing at right back. His crossing has definitely improved this season. That's one note that I did make. In comparison, in the last 3 games or so, the games he's featured in, of course, his crossing is getting much, much better. Obviously, the crosses, and what I mean by his crossing has improved, he's playing the crosses in at the first time, and that's absolutely brilliant so far to see this season. It looks like a new player. It looks as if he's focusing a bit more within games as well. On occasion last season, you'd see Hector Bellerin just switching off a little bit, and before you know it, the players are in behind, and they're definitely going to score a goal or creating a chance for themselves, a chance that wasn't there. So he's definitely improved, and in this game I was really, really impressed with his work. Mustafi, again, performance from him. Didn't really stand out, but he did make a couple of good blocks here and there. He also picked up a yellow card during the game, but overall I was quite I wasn't too upset about his performance. Rob Holding. Rob Holding has actually played in the last 2 games. So he's looked very sturdy again at the back with Mustafi. Of course, as mentioned at the start of the video, Socrates wasn't ready for this game. I wonder if the result would have been different if Socrates was playing. Rob Holding was caught in possession a couple of times here and there, but he also made some really, really important challenges within the box as well. And he did have a good performance. Nacho Monreal, again, very, very consistent going forward. As mentioned, that we were heavily relying on our fullbacks, Nacho Monreal being one of them. He was finding himself further forward, really, than he was doing defensive work. But overall, again, fantastic performance from him as well. Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka, apart from that one shot that he had one brilliant shot. That was a parry from Ben Foster, who's the Watford keeper. He did make 1 or 2 good passes here and there, but it didn't really stand out. He lost the ball on a couple of occasions as well, which led to an attack. But overall, I wasn't really that impressed with him today. Of course, it doesn't really matter. We've got the 3 points that we needed. Torreira had a very quiet first half, in my opinion. Didn't feature heavily, but what I found was the Watford players certainly seemed as if they had an instruction to nip Torreira in the bud, to sort of quash his threat. He was being fouled quite a lot. Obviously, there was that one incident with Troy Deeney where he sort of kicked into Troy Deeney, and that wasn't really a free kick. He managed to get the clearance away, but it seemed as if the Watford players were told to get stuck in to our chief defensive player, really, if you want to call it that, in the midfield, which was Torreira. So his game was really disrupted, and if that was Watford's game plan, that game plan certainly paid off for them. He did seem to have a very, very quiet game. He nearly also gave away a penalty, and that was the start of the second half. He handled the ball, and at that point I was thinking, hang on, is the linesman going to flag, or is the ref going to blow his whistle for a penalty? But obviously worked in our favour. We didn't end up getting, Watford didn't end up getting that penalty. So Ozil, let's talk about Ozil. Went missing completely throughout this whole game, up until he scored that goal. I believe he's been extremely professional. And the reason I say that is purely because he's been played out of position. He's been played out wide on the right, and Emery has been favouring Ramsey in that 10 position. So I believe he's been extremely professional in terms of him being able to just get on with it, playing in that position and doing what he's being asked to do. I don't think he's effective. He is being as effective as he can be in that particular position, and we found that most of the game really was sort of drifting into the central positions, trying to get into that central role to try and make things happen. The assists have dried up, of course, in most recent games, but he's got a couple of goals. He scored a goal at Newcastle, if I'm not mistaken, and he also got on the score sheet today, and that was a fantastic counter-attack yet again. But apart from that goal, he had a very, very quiet game. Wasn't really effective. So I think Unai Emery should start deploying him centrally in that 10 position. That is where he's most effective, in my personal opinion. But might still find him on the right hand side, we don't know. Moving on, Aaron Ramsey again was not that effective really in that position that he was playing. He ended up getting replaced by Alex Iwobi, who when he came on changed the game. I think the instruction he was definitely given was attack. Just attack and attack and attack. And basically Iwobi came on and, as I said, changed the game. When Aaron Ramsey went off, I'm not too sure if you guys noticed, but there was no handshake between him and Unai Emery. So it seems as if there's something frosty going on. Information has recently surfaced that he will most likely be leaving Arsenal, let it be in January or the summer. But there was no handshake. There was no acknowledgement of the two guys in terms of the usual handshake a manager does with their players as they come off. The same thing happened with Aubameyang. Aubameyang shaked Unai Emery's hand and they had a little sort of man hug, if you want to call it that. But that didn't happen with Aaron Ramsey. So as I said, Iwobi came on and changed the game, and it provided a great cross for the first goal, that is, which ended up being an own goal. I assumed that would have been Lacazette's goal, but it came off the Watford defender, and he was just full of running, attacking the Watford defence, running at them. So he definitely changed the game. He seemed extremely confident. Towards the end, he's doing all sorts of step overs, showboating and stuff, and I was really impressed with his performance again. He was then also involved in the second goal. He passed the ball through to Alexander Lacazette, who ended up squaring it for Mesut Ozil. So again, fantastic performance from Alex Iwobi. He's again improved this season. I think working under Emery has definitely helped him improve his game. I wasn't a big fan of Iwobi, but I'm slowly growing into seeing what he can potentially do for us as a team, and when he came on, changed the game as mentioned. Aubameyang, he had a funny game, ended up being taken off for Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck came on, didn't really do much, the same as Aubameyang, didn't really do much. Things weren't coming off for him, and obviously the manager could see that, and I'm quite impressed with how Unai Emery undertakes his substitutions. He has got his substitutions on most occasions so far this season spot on. He's got those substitutions right, so he did obviously notice that Aubameyang wasn't being effective, and that's my personal opinion as well. Aubameyang wasn't really being that effective, and the boss ended up taking him off, and as I said, he was replaced by Danny Welbeck, but at the point Danny Welbeck came on, he wasn't that effective. Lacazette. Talk about Lacazette. They had a very mixed game, I should say. He had that one glorious chance at the start, which I thought he was going to bury. He lives for those kind of chances where he's gifted a chance. He was clean through, and he thought he could be cute and sort of try and chip the keeper, but his chip ended up going wide, and that was really early on in the first half. We could have started off the game really well, but doesn't really matter. Again, we've won the game. He was a bit too honest in that particular moment when he actually chipped the ball, when he wanted to obviously beat the keeper in a nice way. But there was a point where we could have won a penalty through Alexander Lacazette. That's what I meant by saying he was a bit too honest. The tackle on him, I believe, was a penalty. He should have gone down. Of course, he wants to be a perfect sportsman, if you want to call it that. But I believe he should have gone down in that particular game. He had the first chance. He had a great chance in the first quarter, as mentioned. Impressed me really. He did impress me really today with his closing down. He was definitely closing down a hell of a lot, coming deep to come and close down if we'd lost possession in Watford's half. So overall, really impressed with the team. Fantastic performance, and that's 5 wins in the Premier League on the trot and 7 wins on the trot overall. And it looks like Unai Emery's army is starting to take shape. It's going to be an exciting couple of months ahead, as I'm focused on the Christmas period. If we get past that period, then we definitely know that we can certainly push on for a top 4 finish. So let me just take a look at some of the comments you guys have put forward in here. Let me take a look. Glory, Arsenal from Aaron. Yes, great win, Aaron. Is it Mickey? Another clean sheet. Another 3 points. Happy days. Yeah, happy days. 100% is a happy day. Definitely wanted this particular win. Aaron, 5 straight wins. Mickey again. I couldn't agree more. And we need to play Ozil as a 10 to get the best out of him. And that's basically what I do believe myself. But as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.